Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for the patience. It's Monday. It's November 17th, and it's time to start looking at Bitcoin, looking down on it. Um, we hit all the targets. Okay. What we've seen here of the last 6 weeks, it ends the cycle. And it ends the cycle because the 50 level, and I told you guys this last week, that would be the sign, has crossed 50 level, and now we're done. That 50 signal has triggered every correction in Bitcoin. The best hope is that there's a nominal bounce to come off of that 50, but I don't see it yet. And I don't. And my concern here, we're 90. We're right at the number at 93,200. That was our precise target. We threw in the towel 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Yes, 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Um, and the only problem out there is that you still have all of the narrative. So you're just going to have to kind of hold your ground and then just, be willing to kind of whatever people say, just let it go because we're going on levels and metrics. And that happened yesterday actually officially was the final straw. Says a lot about what's happening to Bitcoin longer term as well. We were so close to that breakout above 124 and just failed. And we spent 4 months. I mean, you're up here 4 months. The failure back in October and then the breakdown, that was one sign of the larger stalling at hand. But the acceleration, the 2618 minimum to 155 failed. It failed, and then it broke down where going to the 50 level, and these other measures like just HSI doing this is a really big deal. And here's the combo. That's another big deal. And just to highlight not only that it's under the 50, but this kind of stuff is important where you're violating these midpoint prior support points. So just looking at it like this, XABCD rationale, what do we know? We know that's a BAM trigger, something like that, the natural kind of mechanical move here. So the best thing to hope for is that Bitcoin could find support here from 93, maybe go up 5,000. But I don't see it. And my bigger concern with this failure is we talked about if we wanted to be bullish, we would need to get oversold on the weekly. Well, there it is. But this is where things can, this kind of final phase that we're into the oversold area. A lot of price movement can happen from there to there before we even pivot out. So the whole Bitcoin scene, what are the levels? If 93 is only a temporary level, then the obvious first spot, and go back to the daily, we have patterns here. Bitcoin's going to be like this. There's our shark, our irregular shark to 5-0. And again, I really want to say this. So we look at patterns, we want them to be ideal. Always. But it's not in every instance, but still, if we give it enough time, that if this was going to fail, the breakout scenario would have been realized. We rolled over, and then we got some things that were lower confirmation readings under 111 and under 107. 111, 107, if the breakout was going to happen, those were not to be exceeded. And then under 107, it was cooked. So here we are at 93.2 off of the shark. And I think we got to treat it the same way. We got to treat this as like a type 1 going to target 2. And that's like 78. And that's where I think we're going to probably reach sooner than later. If it's by the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised. And we have a few other, you go back here, that we have a prior pattern and all that stuff from the beginning of the year. It's going to get retested. Where's the crab? Yep. So you guys know that I call this kind of like a looping. Sometimes we get these patterns. They're not ideal, but damn it, the targets can't be ignored. We get the big move up. Well, this now becomes another relevant level where retesting 76, I think, is our likely objective for this down move. I think 93 here, we probably pause, but I'm steering my attention more towards 76. And so you guys know I like to stair step levels. First one's going to be 93. The second one's going to be 76. And then what if? So let's look at the monthly. I brought this up last week. Every major correction on the Bitcoin cycle has been a 786 or real close to it. You get these massive 786 moves like that. And that's the 18 cycle. We should be looking at that again. You have this other low to high 2022 there, 786. So low to high 786. From here, I'm going to do this. You guys are going to probably be incredulous, but 786, guys, it's like 40K. It's really 38K. And how do we get there? We get there by failing 76 in dramatic fashion. Yeah, I'm thinking the short too. And so let me share some frustrations that, everybody, including myself, gets affected by guys like Michael Saylor, who are big, smart, rich guys who are telling us it's going to 13 million. And I don't even think, like, now that if this 1618 has failed, which is it's the first time the 1618 has been the objective, we haven't gone extreme. It sets up a problem for the whole future cycle projection. And I'm not here to just like annihilate Bitcoin and just say it's going to zero, because it's dropped now. Here we are, another 20%, 25% correction. But these cycles are repeating almost precisely in terms of timeline. We're the absolute antithesis of where we were a year ago. And, I'm not going to sit around and let this thing kind of implode further without addressing what the repeating proportional targets have been. And so if Bitcoin is this kind of creature, which all the community seems to be okay for the cycles to repeat like this, um it really does kind of bring to the forefront this 786 possibility. And in the next 11 months, if we're going to do a 1 year bear market cycle, what have you, you have to start considering that that's where we go, that we do this massive Bitcoin retrace. But I'll take it in steps. So 93, 76, and then 48 or 38. 38 would be a target low, like 16 was back here. 16K. But the problem I have with the 1618 being it for now, is a massive declining return. That simply, the fact that we only did a 1618 means that the potential for these repeating 3618 cycles to continue is probably over, and just a process of diminishing returns where it starts here. And so I'm just piecing this all together from a level perspective. But then the other thing to consider is, what would we need to even get bullish again? Because in your best case scenario, you go sideways 6 to 9 months with further downside. But I would have to say that our monthly readings, and we could just take it with HSI, would have to get oversold, turn around, do a dot, do a check back. It's like, I think it's going to be like 3, 4 months to get oversold, 3, 4 months sideways to do something like this or like that. And then you don't even get acceleration until we came back around like there. This is a real test, guys. We're a small group. And again, I like it that like that, because I don't need a bunch of knuckleheads in here. And you guys are all smart. And the harmonic thing for me is like, kind of putting over kind of a cryptography for the market, of having kind of like the code sheet where we got to measure it proportionally with, and then look at the proportional metrics and what does that say to us. If X, Y, and Z have happened, then where's D point? Or if really, if X, A, B, C, D, X, A, B, C's happen, where's D go? And so Bitcoin, in terms of that concept in thinking, there's only two possible D points. And I think 76 is easy, and it's now. And I think it's 3 months. You got like a 3 month window here for that 76, and then we just really bleed it out, and until we get the concrete signals. I mean, if with the software, and especially stuff like HSI and amplified, what they measure and what they tell us just gets us to that second half of the logic. We've topped out. We did not violate the 1618 1902 range. We overshot it slightly, and that was something where when we didn't break through, I mean, go here on quarterly, and it's just a damn shame, but it's, there's 1618 ish, okay, and then 1902. So we overshot it. It was no follow through. Um, it's a little bit higher than I normally like to see, especially on that 1902 level. But this is a reaction. And like the rest of the stuff I'm going to get to, the number one thing everyone needs to respect is the 1618 level and what price action does at a 1618. So for me, that is a 1618. For me, since it is a 1618, we need to have a 382. It's like this. There, the natural harmonic reaction is like that, and the iteration of that growth cycle is over. That's the way you think about it. If you can identify a 1618 and basically confirm that it has been put in place, then a natural 382 reaction, it's like the basic universal premise of natural growth cycles, and that's 84. I think we go lower. I think we'll screw around here for a few weeks, but we will violate 93, 92, and once we crack like 92, 91K, you'll go. I would just be looking for 76. I mean, 84 is a minimum number, but there's not much else. Even the quarterly stuff, and it's Bitcoin's history has been remarkably strong, but look at HSI on the quarterly charts. All right, that where every cycle starts from, he's either oversold or real close. I mean, back here on the quarterly from 2021, 2022, there was the only one that didn't get oversold. That did, and that did. So what I'm really saying is trust these damn readings. Everything else it's proven itself false. Every influencer. I mean, there's some good guys that a couple people. I know Ben Cowan. I do watch him every once in a while, and I know Mitch has been kind of the similar sentiment. But in terms of Harmonic and the software, okay, that is what you're looking for. Monthly basis has crossed the 50. This quarterly basis, which we take till December every time, every time you come back down and hit the 50 level, at a minimum, it's going to cap any bullish possibility until you could get turning back around. So I think for new folks that are working with the software, dig in, realize how critical the readings are. And if you're bullish on crypto, understand that a lot of trading has to happen before we can come down and then resume again. And in terms of time, that's a long time. I don't think this, I think you're done now. You spend all next year retracing, going lower. Um, and then the whole challenge of, do you hodl? If we have if we go to back to 76, maybe people could hodl. But if you're going to sub 50K, what are you going to do? And that's it. And then you stay the hell out. And I think things like Coinbase and MicroStrategy have already rolled over. We never got that retest at MicroStrategy. Coinbase has a massive pattern that I think Coinbase is in jeopardy. I think you got to look at Coinbase here as a full-on type 2. The confirmation was all the way up here, but no check back. That was the real bitch of it. But target 2 is 150, guys, on Coinbase. And I had this thing just to update you guys. I had another kind of security situation with Coinbase. It's going to get worked out, thank goodness. But I don't trust the exchange. I'm not. I'm kind of done putting money on Coinbase. So be aware of all that. Like I'm somebody. I had a lot of money there, and after the few experiences that I had, I don't know how anyone could have money there. I wouldn't recommend putting money on Coinbase security wise. My personal experience, like I almost got hacked. I didn't, I told you guys that it was last year. And then I had a crazy wire transfer thing that's luckily got worked out. I was totally freaked out about it. And at this point, if I ever have another problem again on Coinbase, it's on me. And just with that, crypto cycle is over. We know what happened to all the other ones. Bitcoin goes down. That's all they're waiting on. There's nothing else here. I'm going to just show one or two more big patterns. So Solana, you guys know that I threw the towel in on that. And that was back here on the type 2. And I'm still looking for 106, and we are there. I mean, we should drop there. I have a problem with Solana. I'm going to throw some crazy numbers because that's what this group deserves. I think Solana's in big trouble, guys. We have a bat pattern, hop level at 108, but I'm not interested in that. And again, think about the looping concept. We've seen these, more from my experience, okay? We have that bat pattern all the way back at $49. And that's a viable target. I think Solana comes all the way back down. We take out 108. You take out 95 bucks. Okay, pattern. Just thinking patterns. Was that ever retested? No. Where do we go? I'll take it in chunks. 105. 95 would be the limit, but under 95, 93. Like if I saw 93.99, I'd be thinking $49 in Solana. And there's a big pattern here right now. No confirmation. Again, notice that. No, nothing here. No confirmation. It's that big. I think so. I'll be the first to admit it. That I believed in the whole crypto everything. With the new administration and that they could integrate it and have all this new possibilities, but it's not what the charts are saying. Something totally different. The charts are saying something totally different, guys. I hope this can bounce for people off of here. You're a T1 bat pattern, but we know it's got to go lower. We know that the weekly has to come in and hit 106 to complete the type 2. But at this point, we did not go price discovery on Solana. It was a major recovery candidate. That's it. And so if that cycle was just a low to high kind of range cycle and everything else has been doing 886 resets. Well, there you go. So I'm not going to go public. I'm just going to be talking to you. And I won't be talking about this kind of stuff on YouTube. I'll talk about what I think on Bitcoin, but I think Solana goes to 50 bucks already. If I'm right about the type 2, target 2 is easy. And then what happens is that you fail 105 miserably, which I think is coming. One other one's Ethereum. Okay. So the other part of why I do this, look, listen, I I'm going back and forth a lot of why I do this. And it's to share it with you guys who are willing to do the work. Okay. Like the website, it's take it as it comes, quite frankly. I do it in the way that's easiest for me to do this, disseminate the information, share my experience, so that you guys can get the in-between insights to really make the patterns work, because the patterns work. The information works. You can have irregular situations and then you get turned around and then you're like, okay, what is this? What do these levels mean? Like what are we really looking at here? Um, and so my point is that like when we get concrete, verifiable, clearest pattern situations like this, and they're kind of screaming on it, and sometimes it's hard to really believe it. That's where maybe this is a valued resource, and maybe I'm doing some good for you guys. My thought on Ethereum is that it's done, and it's a failed price recovery candidate. There will be no discovery, and you still have people calling for Ethereum, what Tom Lee's calling for Ethereum 7,000. No way. Not a chance in hell. And maybe that's a good case study there. Here's this dweeb, has got billions of dollars backing him, Wall Street guy. I've met them. I know the type, the disheveled hair, the freaking glasses, looks all fucking pro. A guy that has, you guys know more in terms of direction than he does. And his Bitmine thing failed. It's going to fail. And the targets and the Ethereum scenario has failed because why? Well, with the crab pattern we've been dealing with, and we're down here at hop level, about to crack that hop level at 31, and it's another type 1 pattern to target 2, minimum 26. And what I'm thinking is that we have another looping situation. And again, because sometimes if you're doing this on your own and you're looking at patterns and all right, is this prior pattern really relevant? Yeah, I'm here to tell you it is. And so that's like 2K. 2687 first, and then go back to 2K, if not lower. That's where we are. That's how bad it is from a harmonic pattern perspective. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. I wasn't wrong about 93 Bitcoin a month ago. I wasn't wrong about Ethereum from 47 to 35. Now it's like fail 3100, go 26, and then 2K, 1900. Other thing I want to share with you guys. So yesterday I was out, and family friend, father of friend of my son's, big into Swift. Okay. He's been working at Swift for like the last 2 decades. And he's into all the digital integration. It was like, it was just a fortuitous conversation. I got into him. He was asking me about information about the markets, and I was asking him about what's Swift doing. And Swift and all this nonsense that Ethereum and XRP and all these guys are going to replace Swift, quite frankly, is the biggest crock of shit out there. Swift is actively and soon will be launching all their own digital products, okay, that they're not going to give to XRP. Their XRP might get fraction of whatever, but this he told me. He said every 2 days Swift processes the same amount the entire annual GDP of the world, which is I think is over $100 trillion. Every 2 days, Swift is clearing that. I don't know what the numbers on XRP are, but maybe XRP finds a niche, but Swift is not going anywhere. Swift and FedNow and all of this stuff with the established systems, they're just gonna recreate their own blockchain technology, and that's gonna be it. So this narrative by influencers and everybody has been really helpful for them to run this stuff to the levels that they are currently at. But two things. One, he told me right now that will be fully instituted by 2027. In the next 15 months, guys, Swift is going to have their own XRP system. Okay. The other thing makes me think too, that it just, I asked him about the quantum problem. Quantum computing coming on strong, going to break the cryptography. They don't have to worry about that. Swift is already, they've got triple redundancy, meaning they've got 3 layers of data processing systems. They're building a 4th that is a super secret that they probably won't even use, but their systems their backup systems are like our data centers that are inside of like missile silos and protected from external attack because they can never break into those backup systems. And so even if that's a quantum advancement where quantum can break cryptography of crypto, Swift is not going to have that problem. And in fact, they're already starting to work with quantum systems, quantum computers, which I think quantum will be a real big deal. But again, what price? And that was like this guy. I had a 3-hour conversation with him yesterday afternoon. Basically, destroyed all of the narrative that I've ever heard, and it's from a guy that's been there working on the systems. This guy talks at conferences around the world on behalf of Swift. So we need to kind of. I think the it's an overhyped narrative. I'm going to say that too. I think the crypto narrative has always been overhyped, but with what he told me and the timeline that they're coming on with these systems is like 15 months away. And so let's combine that kind of stuff, all right, with what we know about the crypto cycle. It's supposed to go down for the next year. And then quantum computing is really going to start, he said 2027. certainly by 2028. And that's a whole other thing that every crypto is going to have to deal with. The quantum issue is a real deal in a way that, a lot of people are excusing it, but mistakenly. Swift is dealing with it now. Yeah, no, all of that. And, sometimes in my life, things like this happen for a reason. Um, Information. I meet people at like the perfect time, and it just hits me over the head of what I've just okay. I was meant to hear that, and I was meant to hear that, and I'm thinking like if we have a full reset, everything that didn't go down to an 886 yet is going to go to an 886. Everything. Bitcoin maybe 786, but the rest of it, XRP, I think we got real issues here. XRP right now, if we believe that scam candle was legit, which it was, then it's a 1-2. And XRP is already on its way to 184, probably more like hop level 132. And then the weekly charts failed. I'm done. I'm done trying to guess this. Um, I've held on to some real shit positions that I've been working my way out of, and the other beanie babies are just stuff that I held destroyed, and that's all right. Um, I don't want to be sitting around on XRP and have a shark happen. It's not even shark. Where's that one? The 1618. Okay. If that's a failed mega top on XRP at 340 and we need a 1618 throwdown move and it goes to 30 cents, are we surprised? 35 cents and you just go right back to long-term support? That's what's at stake here. It's not just a small correction retrace. I can work my way through it. And I know people that actually they've got their life savings in it and they're never selling. That's what they said. But I have enough experience in the market to see this go down time and time again. XRP is 220. I don't care. If it was going to make the mega move, this would not have failed. And we're so close to triggering a second wave down that I'm not interested. And I'm done. I want to get back to putting my money into companies, real companies, stocks, things, product, services that are going to be around and continuing to grow into the end of the decade, not some adoption story. So it's a real check here, guys. I've been kind of sour for the last month and all of this. Um, Now I'm just going to flat out warn the hell out of you. Okay, that we're not very far away from triggering all of these larger scenarios. And the hope of whatever, because look, XRP was a $200 billion entity not too long ago. Now it's 130. Maybe it's worth 20 billion. Maybe it's worth 10 billion. It's not worth 200 billion. It's not worth over 100 billion. And the markets do this. Look, the dot-com bubble, when that thing popped, things like Amazon and stuff, they were 100, then they went to 10 before they went to 1,000. And on that downslope of the dot-com bubble and other bubbles, you look at like Bank of America, let me just, give you guys kind of some perspective that when that popped, when the dot-com bubble popped back in 07, 08, like this, you're on the downslide where you went from 50 to 30 and you're breaking down. Well, that was 3. All right. And that was like 2009. And you weren't back to 30 until 8 years later. Folks, I'm not 8 years from now. I'm probably not going to be here. I mean, I'll be alive, hopefully, but I'm going to be running Harmonic Trade. I'm doing this for another maybe 8 years max or 10 years, but uh, I'll be looking to retire, guys. Frankly, I mean, I'm going to do this for fun, but when the major market moves like this happen, okay, and people tell you to hodl, well, screw them because they haven't been through those cycles. I have, and I cleared out. I after again, I'm getting into some personal stories here, but let me show you where I became a registered investment advisor on the chart of Bank of America. I got my licenses. Where was it? It was like right there. I got my licenses and I got set up. It's probably better to do it on like the Dow or the S&P. I got my licenses. I started managing money. I had a couple million under management, literally right at the top. I was working on it to get to there, but so I entered the market. I had a bunch of positions, whatever. I did see the crash coming. I tried to pull out. My family and friends that had trusted me with the money because I knew that there was a big correction. I had 670, 680 as my target on the SPY when it was 1,000. It was like a 30+% correction, and it took years to make that round trip. And I'm not saying that you couldn't recover. I just say you don't want to go through. If we can read the patterns and we know, hey, this is a pattern and it needs to do this kind of a thing, and it goes all the way down, and it's a weekly or monthly chart, it doesn't look good for, the next year or two. Like you don't want to go through that shit. And that's crypto. Stocks, I'm of the opinion stocks are due for a correction here. But crypto is got real concerns of being an overvalued, overhyped mess. So here's the total 3, because take out Ethereum and Bitcoin really doesn't matter. Let's be conservative and just say we've run the top end of whatever that channel is. Total 3 of where we are at 904 billion has to come back to like 600 billion pretty easily. And how you get there is you wipe out the rest of the 99.9% that has already lost 99%, and then Bitcoin and XRP and Ethereum give up 70%, 80%. And if this holds, because The other problem with this being a top is that it's a failed recovery wave. Important, really important to understand that structurally, I've been decades looking at harmonic alignments, waves, what have you. So if I'm right and that's the failed top, then you're due for a throwdown move. This is total 3, and this would be the other thing to really learn from, that is an XABCD harmonic impulse wave at a 113 that requires a 1618 throwdown corrective move to resolve the level of failed ugliness. So that's where I'm at with this. It's not just a retracement. It's not a pullback. And I don't even think it's. I'm not even know. I'm not so sure. It's not even uh just a bear cycle. You have technological difficulties coming up in the next 2 or 3 years, especially the quantum thing. And I'll put up Google, which was almost back at all time new highs right now because of the quantum news and other things that are going to really disrupt crypto, which has been seen as a disruptor. But I'm done. I'm done. I'm actually gonna probably close that Coinbase account because even after that last the thing that I had last week where I had a missing 5-figure wire, I can't operate like that. Wired 5 figures off of my exchange to my bank account, and then there was some kind of mistake, and so they tracked it, but you just can't operate like that. So where does it go? What was the other one? Oh, well, BNB, which again, I love the chart, and I thought this was probably one of the strongest charts out there. Um, but I don't see this as being like I don't have an opportunity here for you. I don't have any long opportunity here at all. It's more like let's pray for a bounce. Let's hope we get a bounce here and then be out of everything by the end of the year for good. For good. For a while. So pretty disparate, pretty bleak, no doubt. But I've just been I think we're going to look back in time on all of this, and we're going to have the dog with hat, and people are going to be like, dog with what? You did what? Because all of this is 40 cents. Like, that will be at 4 cents very soon. I don't, there's all these meme coin stuff. I think, they've put in the final kind of death move. And we see it where you had some manipulated huge moves. But longer term, look, the technicals are they speak to you that a lower high, not able to get above the prior highs. And even since its inception, it's still down, that there's no opportunity down here. Not at all. Zcash is the one thing where, yeah, that's held up, but I think that's going to collapse soon. I don't see that. It's more on the whole premise that You can't get up. You can't go up forever. Okay, that's a 20x even at current levels. But let's do it this way. Depending on your data feed, of course. But here we are. 1618, 1902 range. There you go, guys. It's like 730, 725. Is that stalling? Are we able to get through the 1902? Because I would start looking for this thing to register a reversal somewhere. It hasn't done it yet, but that's the big zone to be looking for bearish signs. We're going to get a dot. You're going to get a bearish candle this week, and then maybe next week. This is what we call the development, okay, distribution, but development of the inflection. So, wait for that. I know some of you guys trade the futures on crypto. I'm thinking about it on the sell side, because if I'm right about this stuff and it's not just a retracement, this is the full-blown reset that's already begun. We're This is like one of the last things standing. In fact, this is the only thing that really did anything at a time when the whole thing was supposed to go. And I guess the other part of it is that people are saying, well, we can take this into 2026. No, you won't. No, you can't. We're the only thing going into 2026 is down, and all the rest of the stuff, it will just grind forever, because it's all replaceable technology. I mean, and it's replaceable technology by people who have more money than any concept thing. That even the like the USDC thing. um I just that's it just was put so clearly to me yesterday. And that something like USDC, they have to buy Bitcoin, but they have to buy bonds. And he said, like, there's like 20% of it's got real asset behind it, like USDC, and then the rest is hype. The rest is just the reliance of more people or the next person to buy. And yes, this has all been kind of addressed previously, but we've seen how this cycle's played out or hasn't. And it's vulnerable. The whole thing is it's vulnerable. It's been vulnerable since this candle, first week of October, with that insane action. I mean, really, the destruction of the whole uptrend happened on the first week of October. And if we're going to full reset, this is crypto 2. Guys, we're just going to do 886 swings. So with all of that, there are no long opportunities for me. I hope I'm wrong. And the rest of crypto that I have, I'm looking to get the hell out. All of it, and just park it, and not even worry about it. Like, let it go. Let go of the dream. For now. And I'll gauge it. And I've said it. It's always been a Bitcoin cycle. I'm going to go 93 first, and so that's how we'll address this. But just so you know, 93, 76, maybe 84 in between. And then, just so you guys know, we'll probably get to that area January-ish, which is here. And if we fail it, then it's shoot that whole gap. and that probably starts early. I would think, like, earlier into first part of next year, so all the way back down. And again, I'm not, um, take it in chunks, but maybe something changes. But you hear the same old narrative of they're going to print money again, and the value of the dollar is going to go down. Uh, but I just it dismisses the realities of the trend and the actual trading behavior. And the other thing is that the big firms that can take advantage of the downside are going to. They don't care. They're not there to hodl. They're there to make money. They're not there to hold on to a concept. So 93 literally today. Let's see what happens. Okay, it looks terrible. I mean, the weekly candle that completed last night, that's about as it's about as bad of a continuation, breakdown, what have you, that we've seen. You go back to prior examples. It's, where's that prior market? I'm going to say it's somewhat like this here, since that was the first bump up, uh, or kind of here. But the breakdown's real. Now, stocks, as I've been saying the last few weeks, look, we hit target. We hit big 1618s. And the QQQ, that was 630, currently 610. I'm more constructive on stocks, but there's the 1618. We're going to have to either, I mean, I don't like to go too huge at once. 236 is like 580, but I'm still of the opinion this is the path forward. That QQQ to 545 needs to happen. A lot like last year's retrace had to happen. So we were back here, and it took a couple extra time. Um, I'm. It might not be as severe, but I'm pretty content with the fact that the 1618 is in, and that we have to resolve it with a 382. Okay. So you're in a corrective mode. I would love to get long some stock, but if the larger Qs are not going to happen, the Qs are going to go down. Then, here's Google. Big up move. I mean, it's been really strong. Okay. But we're same type of deal, 16181902. I would rather be waiting for some kind of retrace. Even if that keeps going higher, I want to see a retrace. And you're not there. I think you're at the top end of, for me, the harmonic levels are kind of like an invisible objective that if you're not looking at it or you don't measure it, you're not going to see it. And this is almost about as far as it can go on this cycle, which is all the way up there. I would say stuff like Amazon, same type of deal. All right, Amazon had, where's my daily here? Oh, we got to go back. So there you go. Let me clean it up. And I know for a fact that what you guys are really digesting now is going to serve you for the rest of your life. Because there's no other information that can tell you that 253.27 is a significant level on a weekly or daily chart as a type 2, okay, other than the fact that it's the retest of the prior pattern. Think of it this way. Here you go. The pattern itself is a big yield sign, if you will, signpost of future price action. And it's a reaction. But there's the type 2. Hits the hop level. What needs to come in? Where's target 2 off of this pattern? It's 182. We're 233. Okay? If we know that that's a valid pattern here and it's a type 2, then at 233, we're thinking 182, 50, 50, 50 lower, 50. Anything between there, here, and there, yeah, another pattern, a bullish pattern, still lower, 214 to 207. And you can tell. I mean, we don't have to fudge it. Okay, this is a type 1, and then it's a what I call that looping type 2. These levels matter. So you're at 233, and you know that it has to retest 214. I'm not buying. I'm not looking long. I'm still looking down, and we'll see what happens when we get to 214 to 207. But there's a real chance that Amazon, one of the strongest companies out there, okay, needs to go to 182 to resolve literally what is set up for the past 2, 3 years. 2 years, we have to correct this action. This progress needs to be paid for, meaning you have to take the profits. It's not going straight up forever. And I'm of the opinion that that's back here. Target 2 is 182, and you have some other patterns that are all under 200. That's the way I build my arguments. So that if I'm at 233 and I'm looking left, what happened prior? Overbought, signals, confirmation, patterns that need to get retested. It's still lower. That's why I am the way I am right now. What's up, Angelo? Yeah, I submitted everything. So you guys, if you did not have your profiler, I did resubmit this morning. I sent it over the weekend, but I'm waiting for my partner to activate. Most of you should be activated. Anybody here that isn't activated, if you sent me your username on Discord, I got it. I sent it. If you did not, DM me your TradingView username to get Pattern Profiler. It looks like this. Okay, here it's invite only. It will be right there, Pattern Profiler. All right, DM me your TradingView username. And again, you guys know I'm giving that for free. I will be charging for that later, but everybody that's bought it, you guys will get it for free. All right. The reason why we will be charging it is because we'll be programming that for optimal. There'll be specific trade strategies that we'll have optimized in the profiler once we get with TradingView, and that's the other news is that I'm partnering with TradingView directly. So you'll get it. Great, appreciate that. Awesome. Combo HSI, you should already have Combo HSI. Let me look at NASDAQ really quick here, NQ on the 5. One of the things we'll do with the profiler is we'll do the 5-minute RTH because it's been really good, and I knew it. We got one right now. All right, here we go at 140. We have a diamond. We need a dot. So let me leave this with you guys. So let me take off this garbage. RTH 5-minute strategy that, hold on. That is on RTH. I don't have a dot yet. Not for today. It's coming usually like once a day. Sometimes we get twice a day, but really, I think it's usually after we get a little bit of time. We need to come back here to like 185. Currently 139. Don't have it. We had a couple good ones last week, but the dot check back is going to be something where we do have that capability to do that statistically, and then kind of back test in terms of how many points do we need to do. Usually we're giving it 10, meaning we get the dot and the trigger. I don't have any here. I mean, that was the last one there. I think we talked about that on Friday. We had some couple last week, but the dot comes in and then you retest the open level, which is like 248 on this one. And so then you add 10 to 58 as like the permissible overspill, and you build out the zone. Sometimes, yeah, it can go 20, but not really more than 20. Our focus is to be executing within 10 and risking another 10 to 15 above that. That'll probably be the first HSI dot statistical study strategy that we'll roll out and roll into a bot, because we can't do the bot without the statistics. But you guys get it now. So send me the note now so I can give it to you for free, because after this month, we're just gonna have to charge. Make it easier. Justin, you don't have the combo indicator? It should be here, Justin. If you don't, the combo indicator should be here, and it should be in the, check your arrows. It should be in there. I can dive into the profiler for a minute. You guys should have the arrows. Are you telling me you don't have this third indicator? I don't think you need it, but you should have it. You guys don't have this on the bottom? Okay, thank you. Let me ask, I'll talk to Chris. I thought that was included for you guys. I have it on mine. But still, we're looking for, the thing is HSI crossing 50. Here, I mean, here comes the check back, okay? We very well, it's we're 162, okay? I'm telling you right now, we need to check that back. Now, yeah, it could very well not happen. But the way this stuff comes together, where I already know that this needs to be retested. So the high there at 186.50 has to get hit. And then we'll need 2 more 5-minute bars that are bearish to get a dot. So that probably puts us somewhere like 30 minutes to an hour from now before we even get the signal. All right, so we'll probably just screw around here for the next hour. But that's what I would be looking for. The whole indicator window itself, I'll ask him what the deal is on that, because I thought that was included for you guys. I'll let you know. So okay, that's the Qs. What about SPY, S&P 500? Similar deal. We hit targets. Okay, I mean that's really why we're doing what we're doing. Where is that? 690. The SPY. I thought the SPY hit that. What's that? What is that? Maybe 1618 is 693 on SPY. Yeah, there's the Qs. Oh, sorry, this is SPY. The Qs did hit their 1618. I guess the SPY is shy. It's supposed to be 695. What's that high? 689. Uh, but I look, the thing that I'm, the reason why I'm looking for a pullback on SPY is we are cracking the 50 pretty clearly on HSI. That's a pretty steep breakdown. The only thing that needs to happen for SPY to really accelerate lower is for amplified to clip 50. Combo indicator's already there, but you guys don't have that. So I'll get that to you. But we're really close to getting into acceleration mode. And I was of the opinion that I thought early January, like first week of January, we'd see some profit taking. Looks like it already started. And our 7K, like I was talking about 7050 as a year end target. And like it was 710 on the SPY, something like that. I don't think we're going to get there. And I keep coming back to this. Uh, yeah, what am I missing on S&P, guys? We were just shy of that 1618, but there's something here that it just escapes me at the moment. Maybe it's the dot. There's some signals here. It could be the rollovers under the 50s. Regardless, I do think we're there now. Nasdaq's rolling over, about to go back to even. All right, I'll look at a couple. What do you guys have? Nike. Let me know what you guys want to look at. I'm not really bullish on anything right now. I mean, I'm kind of the opinion that if we have to have a retrace, really tough to step in and buy something when the larger market needs to retrace. Imagine you're Sailor. What behavior would you have at 74, 75K? Sell everything or hodl? I think he's fully in. You know, I think Sailor is going to take it to his grave. I really thought the Sailor prophecy was for real until we failed in the last 4 weeks. And you know what? It might work out, even if it goes to 40K. It still might work out for him, but he's going to be under a shitload of pressure. It is the proverbial putting all your eggs in one basket. And I just get the feeling that people are vulnerable. Like this is a vulnerable time. Here's Robinhood. I've cleared out of this entire position, guys. It was a big winner for me. I sold a lot of it at around 110, 125 at this 1618. And this is another one that went 1618. Look at the 1902 on Hood. Hood is done. Hood is done. I mean, it was a darling. So it was one of the greatest ones since March lows. It's over for now. Gonna have to come back. You're gonna have to pay for it where it's like this. That's your big up end 1618. 382 on Hood, guys, is back at 95, and that would not be much. 50% is like 77. Hood is really vulnerable. It's almost like a quantum stock. And I've seen it before where you have mega runs and then the cycle finishes and you have to have a massive correction reset. Hood's there. Somebody wanted Nike. I forget who that was, but yeah, I had 200K in XRP, Justin. I did last year, and I took the profit. And then I tried to go back in, and I probably gave back 50 or 60K, thinking it was going to, I didn't want to miss out, thinking it was going to like 550 and maybe even $10 if it got crazy. Nike looks like this, guys. Garbage. Never broke out of this downtrend line. Love the pattern. Love the bat pattern. But we're going into 3 years on a downtrend now. Monthlies like this. Until you break out of that downtrend, you be patient with it. Unless you want to keep riding it as it grinds lower, because that can keep going. This is all geared towards, yeah, we got great patterns, but where are the trade opportunities? Yeah, you got a daily bat, weekly bat, but until they can break out of this downtrend, it's just still lower. I would rather buy Nike in 6 months up here, 75 or 80 even. I'd rather buy it next year here than try to buy it here hoping it's going to break out. I think $52 or go retest some lows. We're coming into tax loss selling season too, where this stuff's going to get hit. They're going to throw the rest of it away. Gold. Okay, here's another tester. Put the levels up against anything. Okay, we've reached targets, 4150 on gold, guys. And yeah, someday it'll go to 10,000, but not until it can digest what has gone down for the past couple of years. I'm thinking gold like 3200s all-time 382, and then really the daily still has to work out this deep crab pattern. I would say this is an irregular deep crab. That 3650 is probably got to get hit. It's getting toppy. It's not, a couple more down days, and that's going to it will break down. And we had this counter HSI. Okay, looked really good. You had a nice rally. It was $300-400 the upside, but then you generated that bearish confirmation arrow. You're done. Gold's done. A lot of this is done. Yeah, gold's done for now. I mean, And again, the expansion target was fantastic. Gold's been an amazing move, but this is all vulnerable. And don't forget that the low, 1 year low is 2,700. Now 4,000. This is a lot of fluff. I'm concerned. I've become increasingly concerned on all asset prices in the last few weeks, and especially with what it looks like to me is a lot of these moves that we were projecting for higher or much higher, they all hit their targets and they couldn't get through. And now they're rolling over, going into like a 30-day rollover phase, which will lead to like a 30-week retracement phase. One or two more. Yeah, that's really what I'm saying. You got to, I mean, this is a real time. Justin was saying about the framework, where the software framework, that's why we do the automated results, because you can't fudge that. In your brain, we can fudge all kinds of ideas of crypto narrative or gold standard or whatever. Look, we got to pay for that pattern. I'm not getting long in front of that pattern until I see either a bullish pattern or another bullish oversold or something like that. And so, let's say you don't want to get short. What do? You're going to have to let it happen. This is part of like the marathon effect of the markets, guys, where we get into these time periods where you might have to wait 8 weeks, 4 months, 3, 4 months. It reminds me of like last January, where we were looking for that retracement and it happened. It took like 6 or 8 weeks to really get started. So it's a big part of for me to relate these kind of ideas. I hope I can reinforce it in you to build your discipline, that's what's going on, and we just have to be super patient as like long-term market marathon runners. We will get another batch of opportunities, but they are at lower levels than they are now. We have to let these retracements come in. And if you wanted to short, the real acceleration for the short hasn't started yet, but we're getting closer. I don't know if I want to short. I probably might sit on the sides into early next year, of waiting for some things to come my way. And I think the quantum stocks are a place where we're going to get a hell of an opportunity for the next cycle. I still like the solar possibilities. Um, and I think things like Tesla, okay, are great, but Tesla itself has to resolve the weekly. I mean, look, bat pattern at 457. I told you, said that's it for now. And the type 2, which is even bigger up here, got the confirmation we've been looking for last week. And so, as great of a company, and Tesla will be great 10 years from now, Tesla will dominate. 5 years from now, will dominate. But for right now, into the next, call it 30 weeks, we could be doing a type 2. That's why I use the 30 rule. And for you and the software, where's the T2? Officially, it's there. There's the 3 to 5 window. It's stalling at XA level. 10 bars in, we're well down. 30 weeks from now gets you into April. Okay? That's how to kind of frame it out. So even Tesla, it's done for now. I don't have too many things at the moment that I can really offer that are screaming as a long-term opportunity or even a swing opportunity. What is Grail, Justin? I don't know that one. Grail, G-R-A-L. Weekly crab pattern, done for now. What is it? It's a type 1 crab. Pay the piper. Come down to target 1. Your opportunity is 71. If you knew something about this, I would say it's at 71. The guy I was talking to yesterday, he loves toast. Okay, he said these guys are going to be a big player in X, Y, or Z, whatever. What he does. Okay, I like that uptrend. Where's the opportunity? Give me a dot. Daily time frame. Yeah, you got some patterns here. 34 to 30-ish, couple other prior patterns. So, and he just fundamentally, he was telling me about this company, Toast. And of course, I run home and look at the pattern. So, at what price? It's probably retesting here somewhere there. It's the way to think about it. Okay, I'm just scrolling through the past. You got it. Well, Justin, I'll tell you that I looked at your Grail. I'll send you a note. Um, Rocket Lab. What's up, Red? Well, Rocket Lab and ASTS and all those others, they massive surge up. Now back. Now Rocket Lab was 72. Now it's 43. What do we have here? Dot, you're checking back. Um, if it's a daily kind of a swing thing, the retest of that dot is literally day one at 43.71. Okay, but look at where your indicators are. And another is just another helpful walkthrough. Like, yes, that would be today's day one of that type 2 pattern. But if I'm looking at real development, what's amplified is deep oversold. HSI just went back, deep oversold again. So these all need to kind of pivot out, get above the 50 before they really are going to do anything. And what happens, I think the common thing that I hear people are, they think, well, if I don't get on it now, right at the dot, then I'm going to miss it. No, what happens with these situations, if your indicator is not there in position where we're ready to bust out, you're probably going to spend 8 to 10 bars, at least 3 to 5 in here, a few more days to stabilize and then turn around. So you're early there. Today's day one. NASDAQ's now down 75. Look, I'm thinking NASDAQ's, we continue to go lower into next week. Next week is Thanksgiving, guys. Unbelievably. So you have that one, you have Rocket Lab, you have ASTS. Those are the high flyers, and they're coming back in. ASTS, and I say this because like all the rest, it's just an XABC, and then the BAM is broken at 67. B points out of 50. We go to like 43. 886 is 43.50. It's like that. So if you're into a lot of these, they're going to continue to do that. Here's Tom Lee's BMNR. and I don't see this shit failed here at 50. Now it's 31. Guys, I don't see why that doesn't go back to about $7. It's over. Okay, it's over. I'm done with it. I'm done. And I was one of the most bullish ones. So please take that to what I'm saying. BMNR is like CEP, just hasn't fully gotten all the way back down there. Look at CEP. CEP probably goes to 7, hits the hop level. It's just a full reset over and over again. Okay. I have no long opportunity. I want to see the markets come in substantially now, between now and January. I'm really looking for this thing to pull back hard. So no longs, shorts only, and NQ definitely doing a swan dive here. NQ on the, well, we didn't get the dot. That's a real shame. Did not get that dot. Take it down. I'm thinking for today, guys, and I'm going to go get some lunch and I'll be back. We should be targeting this low for a failure. That's almost 400 lower from current levels, from where we are now. I'm thinking by 4 o'clock, we're taking out lows. Okay. I have nothing here in terms of NASDAQ futures that would say this is turning around. You would need, you have this daily HSI, but you need another green bar to even get a dot. And what concerns me is that and this is where the indicator windows really help. Like, what's HSI doing? HSI just turned back down. We're not above the 50. You're not in a bullish environment to go higher until you get back above 50. And then the other thing is, look, Amplified's just trending lower. It's going to have to tap the oversold again. So keep looking for the shorts, the 5-minute RTH reversals. Yeah, I mean, look at this 5-minute. This is, yeah, I say this drops a lot lower. And we already started it. I wish I had a dot. We had this dot Friday. And 125, or sorry, what was it this morning? I was saying it was 135, but that was on a 30-second time frame. This is what I did this morning. Where'd it go? Oh, it was these. I had a couple of signals here at 135 HSI where that just kept on banging there, and we had a nice move. I missed the first one, caught the second, missed the third. Now, yeah, even on this 30-second time frame, like 24,912 is happening as we speak. Retesting the bat pattern. This another classic looping up and then all the way back down for the 2. But I'm going to wait for a signal on that to jump in, even if it's already kind of come this far. Haven't had too many dots, unfortunately, so just let it go. We'll get another opportunity. I mean, I'll outline it. I've been trying to do that more when we get it, and just hyper focus on those situations where we do. I mean, it's easy for me to say, it's going down to here, blah, blah. Where are the triggers? Okay. And we don't catch them all. I mean, it's impossible to catch them all, but just be patient with it. We'll get it. Yeah. Yeah, guys, this is a big case study in harmonic studies. And what you guys are learning and have learned from me, I'll put that information against Tom Lee or anybody on the street for you to make an educated, correct decision. Look what we've done with Bitcoin, crypto, markets in general, on the upside, now the downside. And you're going to find in the months, years to come, that you're going to be able to make decisions on your own based on the framework that probably go against conventional wisdom. They're not going to be easy to come to that conclusion. And a lot of time you're going to be standing alone in your thoughts like, well, everyone else is calling for the opposite. And then the patterns and stuff are telling me this, am I right? You got to stick to your guns. I'm sticking to my guns, guys. This is where we're at. The whole scenario failed. Yeah, look, NASDAQ down 125 now. I'll get another opportunity. I'm going to get something to eat, come back, and we get something. I am looking for substantially lower by 4 o'clock. And if it doesn't happen today, by tomorrow, we're going to be taking out new lows for the week. Like the target Friday low, 24.6 is where I think we're going now. All right. Appreciate you guys. Really, I appreciate you guys. You guys make this fun for me. And I get to talk about harmonics, which I always thought was the coolest thing ever. And just, the whole harmonic thing gave me answers like no other methodology. And I hope it brings that for you as well. Okay, I'll post this later. I'm gonna get some lunch. You guys, DM me for those that did not. Everyone else that did send me your trading view username, you're taken care of. I'll follow up and make sure that's activated. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. I'll see you back in the chat in an hour or so. Go get them.